Welcome to the program.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Let's kill this third guest we got here. The fly.
I know, right? I have my magazine. I'm ready. Come on.
How did you get into theater?
Actually, I started in high school,
Right.
and I directed the play "Can't Take It With You,"
Mm-hmm.
and then I was in Dial M for Murder, I believe, because that was a long time ago. Okay, and then of course Isabella was in Tuts for the Academy for 3 years, and taking her back and forth to classes, and we attended several musicals. And that's about it. And I love it. I love even being backstage and doing things. And of course, being on the stage is good too. But,
right.
And now our guest came back, I see.
Well, that's all right. Well, that's interesting. You said you just directed. How did you start out directing? Can't Take It With You.
The teacher came and asked me. She said, "Monica, I want you to direct this." And I said,
Why?
"Are you sure?" She said, "Yes, because you know everybody, you're comfortable, you're outgoing.
Right.
We can hear you when you're
Right.
giving direction."
Right.
And I said, "Okay, let's do it." So that's what I did.
That's interesting. That's not
And I
usually
liked
how people
it.
start.
I think I was in Dial M for Murder first, and I had the same teacher for speech and drama.
Yep.
And so that's when she approached me and said, "Hey, I really would like you to direct this."
Yeah.
I said, "Are you sure?" She said, "Yes." I said, "Okay."
So what did you find interesting, director? Well, I mean, obviously it's the first time, so you had nothing to compare it against.
No,
but
the only time
how did you prepare? But how did you prepare for that?
A lot of notes.
Mm-hmm.
Watching people, how they interacted, learning everybody's lines.
Mm-hmm.
So I would know who goes where when, making sure they had their props. Do you have your, is it backstage? Where is it? A lot of running around too, because you were also kind of like the stage manager. It's not like I had two hats. And so, yeah. And of course, like I said, this is a long time ago, so my memory is a little fuzzy, but I do remember, writing a lot of things down and communicating with the theater teacher a lot. And, and she was great. She offered all kinds of advice and just excellent at what she did. So,
well, that's interesting because she said she picked you because you knew everyone. So let's talk about theater as community. Most people just see it as a gig. I want to expand my, I want to do a role that I've never done before.
Right.
And that's all fine and good. We do want people to improve and to learn as you go. But people, I don't necessarily forget, but for a lot of us, it's about the community of theater.
Right.
What is it about the different communities of theater that you find from place to place? You find intriguing or not, or whatever?
Well, whenever you start in a theater,
right.
Like the Crighton, for example, both Isabella and I feel that it's such a great family, and stage right too. And I've told you before, once you get involved, you really get to know. You're with them for many, many hours, and so you get to know their personality.
Right.
And it's kind of like you have an extended family.
Yes. Besides
your family.
Right.
And then anywhere you go, then you start to recognize people.
Absolutely.
And you're out in the community. It's like, "Oh, hi, how you doing?" Because it's like, "Oh, yeah, I saw you over here." And of course, then I'm thinking, "How do I know that person?" "Oh, yeah, how do I know that person?" So they tell me. But it's like you have all these different families now because you have been involved and interacted with them at some point.
And this probably, it's interesting, in the age of the electronics, where our network is all electronic, not necessarily a bad thing, but there is that personal touch. And it is nice to be able to go places and be recognized. I have to admit, when I go to a restaurant, it is nice to be, like the owner knows you.
Yeah.
You eat your food this way, don't you? Yeah.
You're right. Absolutely.
Absolutely. But it's nice. It's like that extended family. I think we missed that a lot. I saw that a CNN stat one time. It was like 25% of people in the United States don't have a single friend. It doesn't really matter what the number is, but it's a ridiculous percentage. I don't care what it is, right? Whether it's 25, 50% or whatever. It's a ridiculous percent that they don't have a single friend. Just amazing.
That would be. Honestly, I can't imagine, because we live in the same hometown where we graduated high school, both my husband and myself. And we have all of these friends that we've known, well, especially my husband, because I didn't move to Livingston until I was in ninth grade. So, he's been there all his life. And so all these people he's known since he was like in kindergarten, first grade.
That's normal to him.
It's normal. But what is so neat to me is that my children, well, my son especially, he's graduating this year, is actually having some of the teachers that I had.
Wow.
My theater teacher, my drama teacher, is going to be his college English teacher.
Wow.
And I said, you're going to love her. She's wonderful. Anyway, and so it's just like, oh, wow. You know, that it's just kind of neat in that they know me. And when we're out in the community, I see my biology teacher who has stopped me. Mm-hmm. And, you know, of course, he's like, Mom, who's that? I'm like, that's Miss So-and-so. She was my biology teacher. Oh, wow. She remembered you. And I was like, yes, it's a small school. And, you know, and that's, we choose to live there, and if we have to do things, we drive, which I do. I drive a lot, you know, for whatever Isabel's in.
It's a choice.
It's a choice. And my husband drives for work, so yeah, it's a choice.
And I know it's hard, and we really do appreciate the effort. But I've been amazed at how far people will drive, not just for theater, but for all kinds of things. There was somebody told me there was a girl who lived in Louisiana, just across the border, so on the other side of Beaumont, whatever. But they decided that Texas had more competitive softball, and they wanted to be a part of it. And they would always drive to Texas. And I don't mean to Beaumont. I mean to around this area.
Around.
You know, because they have games everywhere, right? And they would drive there. And that was a choice.
Yeah. I have to say, I have driven my daughter and son to different things. And you're right. We drive wherever we need to go. And the teacher or owner or director or whoever says, do this, you say, okay, we get in the car and we go.
And go for it. I remember taking one of our cars to a dealer in Houston. He goes, you got a lot of miles on your car. Duh, this is Houston. If you're not driving, you're not doing anything.
No, exactly. And I think I had a teacher, my assistant principal at school the other day said, do you ever sleep? She looks at my postings on Facebook. She's like, you're never home. I said, I know. Isabel, last night when we get home, she says, Mom, we're home before dark. I said, how did that happen? I know, yeah. Exactly.
Sleep is highly overrated, especially for adults, right?
I know, right? Yeah. No, I only need a little, so that's good.
What do you do in real life?
I'm a first grade teacher.
Okay.
And I've taught pre-K and first grade. And then before that, I was in the field of social work. I've always worked with children in some aspect. I did ongoing. I was like in the home and worked with them. And then later I worked for ECI, which is Early Childhood Intervention. I worked with babies from birth to age 3 that have developmental delays. Mm-hmm. And then I had a friend say, hey, you should teach. You'd be great at it. And we were up at the baseball fields one night. Both our sons were playing. And I said, really? Huh. Next day I went to the orientation, and I went and took my alternative certification and did it. So I thought, okay, second career. I'm going to be a teacher now. And love it. Love it, love it. The age is great. The campus I'm on is pre-K through second grade, and they're great. I mean, we had Meet the Teacher Thursday, and it was wonderful getting to see my kids from last year come in. Right. And kids like for going into 5th grade and 6th grade that have siblings now on our campus, and they, you know, remembered me, and I'm like, oh, it was really neat. You know, I was like, oh, that's so sweet. They came by to say hi.
So how do you keep from getting burned out as a teacher?
Hobbies. Going to theater. You know, you really have to do stuff for yourself. Yes. And I probably don't do enough that I should do, because on the way here I was thinking, man, I need another pedicure. I need a massage. You know, I'm thinking about these things. But doing things with my kids and staying busy with their activities and being involved, you know, with Stage Right, being able to do something here too. So it really, it's I love it. It's a good hobby for me to do. Is
this the first time you've been on stage with Isabella?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Isn't it pretty neat? It's a neat opportunity,
I'm excited. I'm not sure what I was getting into when she said, Mom, you should read an audition. I said, oh, no, I haven't done that in a long time. But you would be so good. You don't have any problems talking and being on stage. Okay. And so I have to say, when the director called and offered me the part, I said, really? Are you serious? Yeah. You really want me? And she said, yes. I said, okay, I'll do it. And I have to say, I really had a lot of fun. Yeah. You know, it's just, I forgot how much fun it was. And I thought, oh, this is really neat. I like it.
And it should be fun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And an interesting thing, you know, Carolyn, Michael, and I did a show we didn't even want to do. We were not even interested in the show, and we had a great time with it, because it's a family type thing. And again, you know, you can have family times however you want to do. Go to Disney, you know, if you all do sports, and that's fine. But it's kind of special to all be on stage together.
It is neat. I wish I could get my son involved, but he's more into music. You know, he plays drums, and he's, you know, and he's like, Mom, I can't act. And I said, okay. And you know, he knows his thing.
Does he have a band?
No, he plays. He plays on the drum line in school. Right. And he has played with some friends before, but no.
Does he compose?
No, not yet.
No,
I'm trying to think. I think he's probably written maybe some cadences for band, but that's about it. So, but you know, being with Isabella, it's so funny because I'm like, okay, Isabella, go over my lines with me now because we have like an hour drive both ways, and so that's what we do. We go over lines.
That's an excellent thing.
And she knows all my lines.
They usually do.
Oh yeah,
kids know everyone's lines,
and she can
everyone's blocking.
That's what I'm telling you. We're backstage.
And entrances, and exits. Yes.
Yeah. What do I carry in with this scene as well? I'm looking in my book, and she's like, "Mom, get this tray. Okay, let's go. We're going out there." I'm like, she's my memory, so she helps.
Do you remember in Annie? Is it the littlest girl? I think it's Victoria.
Yes.
She might have been 3 or 4.
Yes.
And she knew where she was supposed to be and where she...
I know, you're absolutely right. You see her come out on stage, oh, there's Victoria.
But she knew where she was supposed to be.
Yeah, they do. They just remember. It's like it's amazing, their memory.
But that is a great way to work on it. You just got to do it over and over again. Put it on an MP3 player, whatever, on a CD, and just hear it over and over and over again. That's what you do it.
Oh, the lines are easy to remember. It's the blocking that I have to remember. I have to remember in the stage directions. Okay, I exit stage left. Okay, and then what am I carrying out? That's what I have to remember. The lines I have, I can say them and do it, but then I have to remember where I go.
Right.
You have to remember. When do I leave? I think Bonnie's in the way. What am I supposed to be doing? I'm setting the table again. Yeah, so it has been fun.
Back to You Can't Take It With You. It's a great show. It's a large cast too, but yeah, it's a great show. When you were sitting as director, were you thinking about framing or getting people to certain positions, which ends up being the blocking, of course.
Right.
But just to get your certain picture, or how did you?
Well, I wanted to make sure nobody was blocking anybody else.
Of
so,
course,
I would have to say,
absolutely,
okay, now you need to move this way, and you need to come out this way. No, turn to the front. I can't see you. So, right. I mean, that's basically then, because it was high school, and we were all laughing, having fun.
Sure.
But yeah, I did. I had to really be aware of where they were supposed to be.
Right.
Make sure that if we were concentrating on this area, that the audience was okay. This is what we're focusing on right now.
Right.
So yes, I did. I did have to do that.
It's definitely a different perspective. Do you like acting better than directing? Or
yes. I like the acting hat better than the directing hat. I have to say, because you really have to you have to know it all.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm more comfortable, and behind the scenes I like too. So.
Yeah, you better. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. The other part is you don't get the applause, but okay.
Oh, that's okay. I don't mind. That's okay.
What plays do you want to be in?
What plays do I want to be in?
Yeah, that you haven't done yet, or because you said you just started back into it.
I don't know. I started looking at some of the auditions, and I thought, maybe I'll do something else. And I don't know. I don't know.
You have preference for musicals versus straight shows? Or?
I really enjoy watching musicals.
Right.
I've never participated in musicals. Something that would kind of be fun too. So I may do that. I told her, maybe next summer I'll audition for The Wizard of Oz too.
That's right.
And she said, "Oh, yes." So, I don't know. She's my motivation here. She helps me. But I don't know. I'll have to check. I'll have to keep looking at the auditions and see them. They show up one day.
You never know. That's good.
Never know.
Who's your favorite actress?
Favorite actress? I love Judy Garland.
Yeah.
I like old school.
Right.
I love Judy Garland. I love Katharine Hepburn.
Sure. Yeah.
I love Jimmy Stewart. Anything that he's in. And I've tried to introduce my kids to the older things, just so they're aware. These were the people who paved the way. Right. Okay. The only person I can think of right now is I love the musicals with Judy Garland, and I love I like the stuff that Mickey Rooney was in. I don't know. I'll probably think of somebody else when we're talking.
Well, that's interesting because we're just talking to Lauren, and she just mentioned Judy Garland. It's one of her favorites.
I just her voice and the way that her facial expressions. Yeah, I loved it, and but I have to say, probably one of my favorites actor is Jimmy Stewart, because I really. Watching his face, and every time I watch,
It's a Wonderful Life.
Thank you. Yes, tears. I'm like, oh, every time, and I watch it a lot, and of course every
Christmas a lot.
Oh yeah, remember 34th Street?
Absolutely.
Oh, yes.
Well, there was a time there was only certain Christmas shows that were on, right? There's only so many Christmas stories, White Christmas and Bells of St. Mary's. I mean, right? There's only so many shows.
But, I wanted, my kids to watch something besides like the Charlie Brown Christmas, which is great.
I love it.
Love it.
Right.
It's okay. You need to see these.
Right.
This is what I watched when I was little,
right.
and it's still true. The
There's a message
theory
is true.
behind
The
the
story's true.
message. Yeah, it still is.
It's interesting. Now I was thinking, It's a Wonderful Life. That came out originally at Christmas. Correct, in the summertime,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a flop. It didn't do very well. Even the show we just did last Christmas, A Christmas Story,
Right.
when it first came out, didn't do very well.
I know everybody loves that now.
And now it's a cult classic. You watch it 24
is.
hours on TNT.
My kids love it. My husband, yes, love it.
Yeah, we have a special attachment because Gene Shepard used to be a flight instructor where my father-in-law used to fly, because he was also a flight instructor as well. And so he knew Gene personally. And yes, I'm sure he had a wicked sense of humor.
Oh, wow. That's very cool.
But yeah, and in fact, narration that's it. I mean, without the narration, that show it's nothing, right?
Right. Yeah.
It's all that over-exaggeration from that kid's point of view.
I'm about to say his point of view and how he interpreted and how he saw things.
Right.
And you never know. Were they really like that? Just your exaggeration.
But it doesn't matter, right? Because from the kid's point of view, it is that kind of exaggeration. It's real to them.
And funny. Very funny.
I haven't done musicals yet. You wouldn't, mind. What about dramas? Really into drama? Not really? Which is interesting because you're a miracle worker, yeah.
Well, I love this story.
Yeah, the story is very special, yes.
It's very special, and it's amazing to see how far she came, that Helen came. Nobody thought that she would be able to do anything.
Right.
And she, met the teacher, and Annie just led her, and then in later years with the different teacher that she had, and everything she did. I mean, she wrote books, and she just did a lot of things, and I, Googled her and looked up information just to, show Isabella, look at all the things that she accomplished.
Right.
That people really didn't think she would ever be able to do, and she did it. She totally proved them wrong. I was like, way to go, Helen. It's just, there's a message there. So.
Do you work a lot with special needs, or?
I did when I worked with ECI, because all of our babies that have developmental delays usually, have other
issues.
Other issues. Special needs. We worked with children that were hard of hearing, that were visually impaired, that couldn't walk. So we're trying to help them. Couldn't crawl. Couldn't roll over. So we're working with them to help them achieve these goals so they can progress and be where they need to be.
Right.
So when they get ready for school, they'll hopefully be caught up with their peers if they can. Right. So we did, worked with kids, different syndromes and things. So I was around all kinds of different children, which is great because I learned so much. Wow. And working with the families who were just awesome. Great parents, just warm. And because, we go into your home. And so, we make home visits. And so it's not a clinic based. And so people are inviting you in. Right. But, that's a lot. They really have to trust you to do that. To allow you to come in. Oh, yeah, it is.
Not everybody can do that.
Not everybody can. And so, and I still, to this day, have contact with several of the parents.
Awesome.
And even parents who have lost children due to whatever their medical condition was, just to keep in contact with them.
Sure.
I thought it's really nice. It was a great chance to meet some wonderful parents. So, yeah.
Well, it's interesting. We've talked a little bit about all these different networks, and like I said, even theater being a network. Well, how do you think we can encourage people to come to theater? Because it's a common room. We're competing against. We're competing with all kinds of, like I said, that we didn't have to compete with before.
Well, and nowadays kids and adults are into that technology and media and trying to get them to come to a live production instead of watching it on YouTube.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Or TV.
Right.
I think you just have to get out there and talk to them and introduce them. I don't know, maybe take some people and let them see a little scene somewhere. And I remember, I think we did that with Annie.
Yes, we did.
Kids.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
And maybe that needs to happen to open their eyes. Say, hey, come on, this is a great show. It's a drama. Come see it. I think you do a wonderful job with all the PR that you do with the rack cards and the posters, and I'll put them out everywhere I can.
It's a start. You know what? You can't do enough. It's just amazing. You cannot do enough to get the word out. And you're always competing with everyone else. The other noise that's out there.
Well, and even though Colorado's not that far from where I live, it's amazing who I talk to. they have no idea where the Crighton is.
No.
And I'm like, really?
No.
You have to come.
After 75 years, there's still people around here that don't know this place.
Like you should see it. I mean, you know, it's amazing. It's the character and the
the ambiance is just amazing. Absolutely,
it's beautiful theater. It's so warm, and it's just when you walk in, you just kind of.
I think that's why a lot of people come from long distances. We have buses that come from a long way from Harris County and stuff, and I think it's probably about they're here for the ambiance. Because if it was just a theater, they can go anywhere.
Oh yeah.
Just theaters all over the place, and they do good work too.
Oh right.
But it's a special place because of the character, the age, old vaudeville theater.
Oh yes, and I have some special friends that are from our hometown.
Right.
But they have season tickets. They come all the time, and to this theater, we talk about the Crighton, their face just lights up.
Wow,
like,
that's
we just
neat.
love the Crighton. And I'm like, me too. So, yeah, and
does have a special place in our hearts. Yes.
Oh yeah, it really does. It just, I'm telling you, when you walk in, you just automatically feel comfortable and warm and. But okay, it's where I'm supposed to be.
It's interesting. I was just thinking about where I work, and it's like, well, yeah, and we were thinking about they're moving, but the odd thing about it, it's about the people that are there, right? Now, because the building is just that. Mm-hmm. It's a building, and yes, hopefully it gives you a certain warmth, but at the end of the day, it's really just about the people that are there, and so we just want to make that family larger and larger, keep it friendly, and keep it growing.
That's why we keep coming back. It's been 2 years.
I think it was 2 years ago. Yeah, it was 2010. Yeah.
We just, Isabella likes it. I like it. It's not that far from where we are. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely an easy commute. It's not difficult. And it's worth it. We really feel it's worth it. And I'll have people say, why? You drive that far? It's not that far.
It's almost like, why not? Right?
We don't have a theater here. We're going to where there is a theater, and we love it. And it's come see.
We've got
come
people
see
that
why we drive.
We've got people in Katy that come here. We've got people, from Clear Lake that come, or Huntsville. Those are we're talking an hour, plus away. So
right, it's worth it.
That's right. So when you get to heaven, what do you want God to say when you get to the pearly gates?
Are you happy? Did you enjoy life? Did you make a difference? And I hope that I can say yes, that I touched somebody's life. However.
Mm-hmm. You think you see some of the kids that you've worked with too, and they all come?
Yes.
Well, as a teacher, they're always your kids, right? No matter how old they get. And 20, 30 years later, they're coming up saying,
I say my babies, and that's how I talk. I talk because, I teach first grade.
Yes.
And before that, I taught pre-K. So they were my babies. I mean, I can remember when I taught pre-K, me walking down the hallway quacking, and I'd have all my little kids behind me quacking, and the teachers would come out and just smile and laugh. I'd say, well, I'm the mama duck. These are my babies. Let's go, quack, quack. And that's how we'd walk through the hallway to teach them how to walk in the line, And so I feel like they are my babies because, we're around them a lot. We're around them many hours during the day. Yeah. And, when I'm talking to somebody else, I'll say, oh, my kiddos, blah, blah, blah. And they're looking at me. Okay, are you talking about your kids, your biological, or your students? Oh, I'm talking about my students. Now, were you asking about my kids? So I forget because
they are your kids.
They're my kids. I say my kiddos all the time.
Yeah, it's interesting to talk about the influence. I look back at my childhood, I remember vacations, and I remember my kindergarten teacher.
Oh, my kindergarten teacher. I remember Miss Leroy. I can tell you, long black hair, wonderful. Had a tub in the classroom. I went to a parochial school for the first few years, and I can remember we were so special when we were really good. Yes. We got to sit in the tub and read a book. So my goal was to be in the tub and read a book. And she'd have pillows all in it. So I thought, you know what? You really do make a difference.
Yes,
I mean, you have to remember that you're molding these little small people, and you want them to be responsible adults. You want them to be able to support themselves, take care of themselves.
It's amazing. I want to thank you because a teacher really is not even a descriptive nor a word to indicate all the things you do at those formative years, right? You're a mentor, sometimes not just to the kid, but to the parents as well. Sometimes, it's just amazing. So thank you, for the service of the kids. But I know those kids, they're going to remember you and they'll keep coming back.
Yeah, I love them.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.